Hey guys, Stealth here, back with more Cold Waters, and we are heading back to base. We're heading back to Holy Lock to pick up a SEAL team, which have to drop off between Murmansk and Gromyka. Of course, in the meanwhile, the war continues, and losses in West Germany are apparently starting to mount. If I can get some submarine contacts and surface contacts destroyed, that would be wonderful. But here's the problem. Loading a SEAL team forces you to basically get rid of all of your weaponry. I don't believe a SEAL team is going to take up that much space, at least not from what I know about the subs, but apparently it just takes... It just takes a lot of space. Here we go, load up Spec Ops team. And now I have room for 4 torpedoes and that's it. So that's what we're going to go with. 4 torpedoes and 1 Spec Ops team. And we are off over the Norwegian Sea again, through a bit of the North Atlantic and then onto the Barents Sea, avoiding detection by submarine contacts, surface contacts, and anti-ship warfare aircraft. Anti-submarine aircraft. And they keep doing runs from Murmansk and Gromyka towards Spitsbergen, it seems. Now this is not going to be an easy mission. Okay, what's the news? West Germany surrenders. Bad news. Ooh, don't do that. You can still see some submarines moving around. Okay, here we go. New contact, bearing 166, designates Sierra 1. Depth is 900 meters. That is not 900 meters. Sorry, 900 feet. That is 140 feet. Okay. So what we have over here is a situation where I have 4 weapons, 4 torpedoes, one of which is not even being loaded, 4 torpedoes and 1 SEAL team. I have 20 noisemakers, which means I should be able to deal with at least some torpedoes if they get fired at me. But if I am taking torpedo fire, then that's bad news in and of itself, because that means I've been detected, and that the SEAL team, which I'm supposed to drop off, is likely going to be detected as well. So this could be a long mission, trying to avoid detection, circumventing enemy sonar arrays, and all the ships, surface contacts, subsurface contacts, whatever they might throw at me. This could be taking quite a while. So let's speed up time a bit, see if we can pick up any trails. I'm rigged for ultra quiet, hoping not to make any noise that way. But seriously, 140 feet? That's all the depth that I'm at. I can go to 221 if I need to, but that is not a lot of room to maneuver. There is no subsurface layers that I can hide underneath. No thermoclines, nothing. So I'm gonna have to do this real sneaky. And hope that the AI doesn't cheat and start wanging away with active sonar right away. I'm making a slow turn to starboard. English. I'm making a slow turn to starboard to try and give all of my sonar arrays a chance to detect any incoming units. So far, so good. Now the question becomes, dare I go up to periscope depth and either take a peek through the periscope or try and find out if there are any surface contacts by doing the Signer's measurements. Hang on, we got a contact. Sierra 1. Let's see if we can identify what Sierra 1 is. Apparently it's a surface contact. The game already told me that, so I don't have to go comparing it to a subsurface contact. Let's see what they have around. Trying to match the sonar signatures. That could be it. A Poti class. Frigate. Solution is 56%. It's moving at about 15 knots. And I'm only picking it up on passive sonar, so it is not pinging away. Yeah, I can see spikes forming at around 250, maybe 350, maybe 400. So yeah, we're going to say that this is a POTI FF, which means a frigate. It is, however, coming my way. So we're going to make a hard port turn and try and avoid that guy. In the meanwhile, speed up time a little bit. Let the game figure out what exactly we're dealing with. 95%, yep, it is definitely a POTI class. As long as he keeps going that way, I'm going to head the other way. Let's see what the ship class is. Oh, it's a very small ship. I wouldn't call that a frigate. FF is usually the designation for a frigate, but this is more like a patrol boat. A couple of torpedo tubes, 2 port side, 2 starboard side, dual barrel turrets, and especially these things I do not like. If those are what I think they are, then we are looking at anti-submarine rockets, ASROCs. What ASROCs do is launch a depth charge pretty far away from the ship. Normally you'd have a destroyer or a frigate come over and drop depth charges from the stern, right over the submarine. These guys, of course, have longer range sonar and are perfectly capable of detecting me at range, turning the bow in my direction, and launching off the depth charges with these launchers. Now, I could be mistaken, I could misidentify these weapons, and I rather hope so, but I'm not counting on it. Okay, so we know about one ship, and he's right between me and the insertion zone. If he just keeps heading in that direction, that'd be wonderful. Let's make a very gentle turn to starboard. Now I'm still maneuvering at 5 knots. I could go faster, but I'm not sure how much of a sonar array this guy has. How good he is at listening to my signals. Let's actually head into the unit reference. FF, frigate. Trust me, this is not a frigate. That would more likely listen to the name patrol boats. That would be PT. Which the game does not recognize as a ship class. Interesting. Okay. Let's continue on our merry way. Because I doubt that we only have one POTI class defending this harbor. It would be wonderful, but I really, really doubt it. Oh dear, you're making a turn? How far are you going to continue with that turn? Oh, he's gone active. Shit. Alright, we're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to dive a bit. And if I dive, I might be able to make a little bit more speed without cavitating. Hopefully, I'm not gonna have to put her on the bottom, because that would be pretty bad. We're gonna pull this one rather close. At current, we only have 40 feet underneath the keel. That's it. Almost 30 feet. The game is going to start warning me about that. Shit. If I go ahead 2/3 or ahead full, sorry, ahead standard, we're going to be cavitating. You can really see the bubbles there. I'm not sure if I have been detected yet. I don't believe so. But I'm not eager to stick around here for too much longer. And the problem is that POTI class is going to start coming at me at 15 knots and I'm running away at 10. So I have to do something. He is going to detect me. So we're going to have to get out of here. Now if I go below 200 feet, I might be able to get away with about 15 knots without cavitation. So we're going to see how low I can get. Shit, I can already hear an aircraft. Which is unusual. I mean, a submarine would normally, I believe, not hear an aircraft. Passing 200 feet. Depth below the keel is about 20 feet. Translation to the metric system, that's 8 meters. That's nothing for a submarine. I had standard. Yep, my gamble... No, my gamble did not pay off. My gamble did not pay off. We're still cavitating if we're going at 200 feet at head full. So I cannot get away with that much speed. That means we're going to have to try to avoid the Poti class by coming around him this side. We're going to have to start looking for splashes as well. Splashes are generally very, very bad news because they mean sonobuoys. Oh! Jesus. Okay. New information. They have 3 helicopters. Let me give you a bit of lesson on helicopter versus submarine warfare. What you see this guy doing is hovering steadily. He's not moving. By doing this, he is dropping or lowering a sonar array into the water, and you can see him pulling it back up now. This is what is called dipping sonar, because that's exactly what it does. It dips into the water, and it listens for a while, and then once they either have something or don't have something, they turn back and they try to dip somewhere else. They can use that among other sensors, but I'm not sure how much those are accurately modeled in-game, to try and find my submarine. Of course, with 2 helicopters, that's going to go quite a bit faster. And to make matters worse, they have their own anti-ship plane. This thing, as you might expect, does not drop temporarily it doesn't unleash a temporary buoy into the water, it drops sonobuoys. Sonobuoys are the enemy. They can either be used in passive mode, in which case they're only listening to me, or they can be used in active mode. And if they are used in active mode, they're actively going to start pinging away. Meaning that if they deploy a whole net of those things, trying to steer clear is going to be very, very tough. Now, I am weapons free. So, the alternative is killing off this ship. Which of course immediately tells them that I'm here. But apparently they're already expecting ships or submarines. So we're going to tell this guy to get hell out of here. We're going to start firing 1 torpedo at him, which is one of my 3 torpedoes. It's one of my 3 torpedoes. I'm going to do that in a bit of an unusual fashion. What happens if I send the torpedo right at him is that his active sonar is going to detect it. But I believe that his active sonar is checking a cone about 60 degrees in front of him. So if my torpedo is going to come in from a different angle, then he should not be able to detect the torpedo. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire my torpedo right there, and then manually steer it around to tell it to come after this this surface combatant from the side, and hoping to avoid the sonar, the active sonar that way. Tubes away. Now this torpedo is going to be very, very important that it's going to be wire guided. If I lose the wire by making some very sudden and sharp movements or increasing speed too much, I am done for. I can no longer control the torpedo and it might start looking for me instead. So I really, really want this guy to stay connected to my ship. Now the accuracy on the Poti is still 95%, so we are pretty damn accurate. Now you can see that the torpedo is immediately trying to acquire the ship. I'm still looking at the bottom left side where it says Poti. I want to see what that guy's doing. He has not yet detected my torpedo because he's not changing course. Now he's changing course and speed. He's detected the torpedo at about, I think, 3,000 yards out, because he's 4,000 yards out from me. So the torpedo's homing. You can see that our surface combatant is trying to get the hell out of here, making all sorts of course changes to try and throw off the torpedo. The torpedo is not exactly impressed. It's looking for a point of impact of where the ship is going to be, and it looks like it has no problem at all finding the target. And I gotta say, I am rather happy about that, because now I can potentially move a bit closer to my target, to my objective. Sorry guys, objective. Although, in the previous video we have seen that enemy ships, which are dead, can somehow still fire. So, for all we know, this guy is still dangerous. Now, he's going down nicely. This leaves me with 2 active weapons. Or 2 weapons that I still have left in my tubes. 2 Mark 48s. So I can, if I have to, still sink 2 ships. But I'd rather not. Alright, we're going to start making a slight port turn. Turn the ship immediately towards the objective here. The thing that worries me is that we still have an active sonar somewhere. An active sonar could be a sonar buoy, could be an enemy submarine, could be a surface ship. And at this point I have no further signatures other than the POTI, which remarkably is dead, yet is still sending out the signals that we're aware of. Speed it up a bit. Hold on. Shit, shit, shit. That's a sonar buoy. Where did he drop that? There. Okay, he does not know where I am. This blinking icon over here is the sonar buoy, and it is currently way too far away for me to be a threat. So that's good news. You can see my sub there, and the sonar buoy, while it's not accurately modeled, I believe, is just dipping there and might be deploying a whole sonar net there. It depends really on the type of sonar buoy that he's dropping. That other contact that's still pinging away is still worrying me. I still want to find out what that is. We're seeing the aircraft again. It just dropped another sonar buoy off to the south. So it is still too far away to actually be hearing me. We're getting right close to this wreck over here. And this is actually good news, because wrecks still generate sonar profiles. So by getting really, really close to this guy, I'm masking my own sound by his sound overwhelming my sound profile. So he shouldn't be able to detect me just yet. In fact, we can get a bit closer. And if there are going to be torpedoes heading for me, this thing might save me by being one big torpedo magnet. Alright, let's keep heading for the insertion zone. Here's the aircraft again, dropping further off to the east, it seems. So we're fine. Hang on, we got a new sonar contact. Bearing 257, designated Sierra 2. Unfortunately, he's not quite giving enough of a sound profile yet for me to be able to hear what it is. I'm getting a spike at about 600. These other two? I rather doubt that we're dealing with another POTI class. It might be one. He's getting suddenly a whole lot closer. Now I've slowed down to 5 knots to improve and maximize my capability to hear stuff around me. Accuracy 42%. I think we're dealing with another POTI class. I just want to know how far away he is. Let's make a maximum starboard turn. Start angling towards him so I can keep my other torpedo attached to the ship. Another sonar buoy. location more to my east. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind them dropping there. That'll do. Accuracy 43%. I am going to classify it as a POTI class. I can hear helicopters. Oh, you see that? That right there is the shadow of the enemy helicopter. I'm thinking it's this one. Do you see that very, very large dish? If that is what I think it is, that is really bad news. Because that's what they call a MAD sensor. It's a magnetic anomaly detector. What happens is that the Earth has a specific magnetic field. And any large concentrations of metal are going to disrupt the amount of iron that should be over there. Such as a submarine. So if he flies over me or gets close to me and detects an abnormality in the magnetic field of the Earth as compared to me, or as compared to what it should be, he's going to be rather confident that there is a submarine here. And the way that this helicopter is hovering here is getting rather worrying. Especially with that anti-ship or ASW plane flying around. And he dropped a sonar buoy right close. Oh dear. I only have a 60% accuracy on the POTI class. But that's all I can afford for now. Good hunting. Tube 3 is away. I do not want to get detected by that sonar buoy. Hang on. Sonar 3 is cavitating. So, we have another contact. We just fired at the POTI class, but there's another ship. And if it's cavitating, that might very well be a subsurface contact. So we're dealing with a submarine. We have an enemy submarine defending this place. Now my torpedo is homing. You can see it's going for a surface contact here. I still have one torpedo in reserve and one loaded in the tube. So the POTI class should be dead. This could get loud. That's him dead. Confirmed another kill on another patrol frigate there. What do we have here? Definitely not a POTI class. The way he only has a few spikes, which are rather low, builds my confidence that we're in fact dealing with a submarine. No way, that's a Delta 4. I'm not expecting an SSBN here, which is a ballistic missile submarine, also known as a boomer. It's one that is armed with ballistic missiles. Hang on, why are we flooding? Which section is that? Bow sonar, pumps, control, there, fire control. If fire control's been hit, then that's bad news. I'm not exactly sure what hit me, but I'm very curious to find out. Holy shit, that's an enemy torpedo. Okay. This game is about to get a whole lot more interesting, in case you were bored. I think the torpedo hasn't gone active yet. Okay, now it's acquired. Shit. Now, submarines can... Oh, there's another one. Submarines can evade torpedoes. Geez, that must have been dropped by the aircraft. It's not easy. It can be done. Fortunately, I spent a good deal yesterday evening trying to dodge torpedoes. Oh, shite. All ahead flank. Drop a noisemaker. Distract the torpedo for a minute. Oof. Now what that noisemaker behind me did is temporarily throw up a whole lot of sound bubbles, or air bubbles, to temporarily distract the torpedo. It basically blinded it. That is not going to last forever. That can really quickly turn around. And he's reacquired. Now, I don't want to keep dropping sound makers and noise makers, so I'm going to create a knuckle. And a knuckle is by, there we go, knuckle formed, is by quickly maneuvering the rudder port to starboard. And it's going to cause a little bit of a cyclone underwater, as it were. There's another one. I'm keeping these things between me and the torpedo. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to start firing at that Grisha class that we have. Oh, actually, the enemy ship that we sunk was a Grisha. To make matters worse, we are about to see potentially more torpedoes in the water. You can see the torpedo is still being distracted by the knuckles that I'm leaving behind me in the wake of my sub. He's still pinging away. Here he comes again. Knuckle formed. Unfortunately, the knuckle was not between me and the torpedo, but now it is. Knuckle formed. He's still distracted. Come on, buddy. Dance for me. There's another torpedo coming. Knuckle formed. Here comes the aircraft again. What's the plane doing? Torpedo has still acquired me. Time to form another knuckle. Come on, zigzag, knuckle formed. I'm looking up to the top right side of the screen where it indicates if I'm being tracked by a torpedo, yes or no. Now, I can basically fool this torpedo indefinitely, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep the torpedo fooled until it runs out of power. So until it runs out of fuel, at which point it will explode. There you go. So that's the torpedo gone. Now, I am still flooding. I'm going to have to release some of the pressure on that by going a little bit less deep than what I'm running currently, which I really don't like, but I'm going to have to. Because the more pressure there is on the outer hull by being deep, the faster the water is going to come in. And you can see that my fire control is already flooded. Yet I'm still being able to launch torpedoes, I hope. Talking of which, there's another one on the surface there. By leveling out, going a little bit less deep, there's less pressure on the hull, and they should be able to pump out that water a bit faster. And considering that they know where I am... Oh, Christ. That torpedo is worrying me a lot. Oh, Christ. It found me. Noisemaker dropped. Turning hard to port. Immediately start cavitating again. This thing is going to be close. It's right off the starboard bow. It's going to be a matter of time before that thing turns around and reacquires. There we go. He's already reacquired. Come on. Come on. Soundmaker deployed. Oh, very close. Oh, dear. Turn off, turn off. We're going to have to deal with the flooding without actually going any lower or any higher up. I need to get this thing on my stern again. He's pinging. Rudder hard the other side. Knuckle formed. Torpedo dodging away. Come on. Trying to keep him on my 6. It's like dancing underwater, guys. I hope you're on the edge of your seats, because I am. Here he comes again. Knuckle formed. Torpedo's being fooled again. Keep turning. Now, I don't know how many torpedoes that aircraft is carrying, and I'm not willing to find out, but so far he's already dropped 2 on me, both of which I've been able to fool. Here he comes again. Is he going the other way? Or did we get out of his range fast enough? Yes, he's searching in a starboard pattern. This torpedo is going to keep circling right and try to find me. So if I can make sure that I'm not where he expects me to be, then I should be able to outrun this torpedo. In the meanwhile, we're not getting anywhere closer to where I need to be, unfortunately. Now I'm going to be performing a bit of sacrilege here by turning on my active sonar, because I want to find out where that other contact is. It's still pinging away, and at this point I really want to find out what I'm dealing with, so we're going active. I want to reacquire target 3, or Sierra 3. Unfortunately I'm basically going too fast to be able to listen in on my sonar returns. So we're going to have to slow down. We might be getting another present from that aircraft anytime soon. Yep. Oh! He dropped his sonar buoy right on top of me. If there was ever any doubt about where I am, I think all of that doubt is gone at this point. You can still see the torpedo moving around there. I really don't trust this thing. Ooh. Now some submarines are armed to, or equipped with an anechoic layer, as it's called. Because what's happening is that this torpedo, you can still see it over there in the distance, is sending out sound waves, sonar. It's trying to look for a object that bounces off the sound waves. So the sound waves are coming to my sub, bouncing off, and then the torpedo is starting to hear them. It's starting to listen in and is going, hey, I'm looking for stuff that's not supposed to be in this water. And my submarine classifies as such a contact. That's how the submarine works, or that's how sonar and how the torpedo works. So what's going on is that the torpedo is currently looking for a return. If you have a submarine, and I'm not sure if the basic Los Angeles class is equipped with it, with an anechoic layer, that's going to basically absorb the sonar waves, or the sonar sound waves, much as you'd expect with a stealth layout for an aircraft, or a stealth layout for a surface ship. It's a bit simplified, but that's how you can defend against sonar. It looked like that aircraft came over low once again, and I think that might be another torpedo. Unfortunately, we're still flooding. Damn it. And I'm not getting any closer to my objective. Alright, we're going to make a slow turn to starboard. At current, the latest sonar buoy is over there. The torpedoes have all stopped, which is a very positive thing. Oh, damn it. I pump out one section of water, and I basically pump it into another, which is wonderful. We're gonna have to lose a bit of depth. Try and get rid of that water. With a leaky submarine, it might also mean that I'm not going to be able to... Oh, Christ. Now, we took a torpedo. We are still able to somehow survive, but I lost propulsion. I lost my reactor, and I have further problems inbound right about now. That's a good lesson right there, not to actually use too much time acceleration, because it will end up killing you. Now I'm now dead in the water. My propulsor is no longer active. The reactor is being repaired as quickly as possible. I'm still flooding, although the water is being pumped out. My hull's down to 45%. Right, reactor online. We have propulsion. Now let's see if we can pump out the water here. And not keep moving up, because I had set my ballast to minimum. We still have these aircraft to deal with. Now normally a submarine would be dead. So the game is basically giving me some sort of free meal here, in the sense that I really, really should not be alive. Now at this point I'm pretty much in fuck it mode, because I'm expecting further torpedoes, and my efforts to not get detected have more or less failed entirely. I have a massive hole in my hull, and surprisingly I'm not actually taking on any water. I mean, a hole this size? Come on. That should kill any ship. Really. Keeps dropping sonobuoys. Trying to steer away from those, but I'm still cavitating. Alright, all ahead flank. Fuck it. We're gonna have to try and just outrun this guy. Let's lose a bit of depth, or gain a bit of depth, passing 100 feet. Depth, yeah, floor is still at 222 feet. At this point, I'm pretty much hoping that the enemy aircraft is going to start running out of sonobuoys and torpedoes. Because this bastard over here has already dropped quite a few torpedoes into the water. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's out at this point. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly where he is. Wait, one. Torpedo in the water. Torpedo's about to acquire me. Alright. Dance class has resumed, guys. This aircraft is apparently not out of torpedoes just yet. Now I'm moving at 32 knots. The torpedo's probably going to be coming in at about 50 knots. Unless I keep forming knuckles and keep making sure that this thing cannot get close enough to hear me. There's a sonobuoy right on top of me again. Should be able to see it. So far, that torpedo is still searching. Oh, hang on, that's a second torpedo. Oh joy. Come on. Going to acquire me or not? Now, submarine warfare, and especially counter-torpedo warfare, is also partly seeing who's faster. If I can outrun him long enough for him to run out of fuel, I win. Because my fuel in a nuclear submarine is basically limitless. So, a torpedo doesn't have that luxury, and as such can be defeated in such a way. Let's make a slight starboard turn, because I seem to be winning the race against the torpedo. And I'm hoping to finally get a little bit closer to my objective, because so far all I've done is head away from it. Is that torpedo... Yeah, this torpedo is getting all sorts of wrong ideas. Making a hard turn to port, seeing if this thing follows. it is following. Or is it just searching? It might very well be just searching. Let's keep forming knuckles. There's another one. You can see it just there, just a minute. Oh dear. Now, of course, there's nothing that stops this aircraft from rearming us shore or calling in another one. I just rather hope that he won't. There are a few things that I could do at this point. I could still try to go for my mission, or I could go home with mission failure, but I'm not sure how mission failure would impact the campaign. Now there's also something else to consider. My sonar, thanks to my very, very high speed, is completely blown out. I don't mean it's destroyed, but it might as well have been, because I cannot hear anything at this point. I have no idea where the other contact is. The last thing we detected was Sierra 3 to the southwest of that Grisha 3. Where exactly he is now? No idea. So far, this seems to be the only torpedo that's actually getting any closer. But he's been in the water for quite a while. I think he almost has the same speed I do. Maybe a little less. Yep, torpedo has run out of fuel. Alright, we're going to start heading back to the objective. Once again. If you're still with me at this point, thank you for watching. Because this is turning into quite a long mission. I'm going to start trying to head silent again. And that might not be the best idea because we have another torpedo in the water. Which we are going to have to give the same treatment. That is, if he went active. Come on, throw that rudder to port. Speed up the ship for 15 knots, 16. Cavitating. 19 knots, 20 knots. Faster, faster. There's the torpedo. Can't hear him anymore. Okay, we're gonna have to play Dose the Torpedo game again. And he ran out. Wait, one? Oh, I'm getting too shallow. Or it's getting too shallow for me. Fine. Oh, Jesus, the floor is coming up. It's never a dull moment aboard a submarine. The floor is now 190 feet. 180 feet. I'm getting way, way, way too shallow here. We're going to have to turn away from this region and look for deeper water. Now in Subcommand you had this beautiful map that told you exactly how deep it was going to be where, so that you could adjust your course accordingly and look for deeper water. Looks like I no longer have that luxury. Depth 145 feet. Floor 175 feet. We can still have the aircraft flying overhead, and he still dropped another sonobuoy. Beautiful. 165 feet. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. 140 feet. That's another sonobuoy, and he dropped, well, virtually on top of me. Not surprising. I'm not making it difficult for him to find me. Okay, floor starting to go down again. 200 feet, 212 feet. Don't tell me there's another torpedo. Okay, there is a torpedo in the water, but it's not heading anywhere near me. And that's the only torpedo. It's heading near the two wrecks over there. So that's good news. Floor 217 feet, 218 feet. Keep heading in this direction. 200 feet. 195. 196. We have a torpedo on our stern. Or at least, I think so. Make that 2 torpedoes. He is pinging, but that's near the 2 shipwrecks, which is not exactly where I am. We do, however, have another sono buoy right behind me. Ugh. I have about 20 feet below me. 7 meters. I can stay submerged up until a depth of 50 to 45 feet. So I still have some leeway. Just not a lot. Go active. See if we can find the targets. There's something pinging away there. That might be the torpedo. This torpedo is heading on a course of say 200, which is that way. That's good. Because we can see the 2 shipwrecks, so it should be heading about that way. That's 1. Where's the other torp? Running at about 180, so that's due south. Can we see the shipwrecks? Oh, there's my sub. So he's already past me. We're heading here, so he should be about there. That's good. I can live with that. Now, where's everybody's favorite aircraft? Still overhead. Floor is now 155 feet, so I have 30 feet below the keel. Will I ever get to the objective zone? Floor 164 feet. It's dropping 170 feet. Holy shit. At this point, we have multiple torpedoes in the water. And they are all snaking, so they're looking for targets. This one is not going to be a problem, because he's going to snake south. These two are a whole different story. Because they can still really mess me up. Where's the aircraft? That is one dipping sonar helo, who's really showing incredible acceleration there. There's another one, and there's the aircraft. Yes, yes. Navigator understood. Less than 50 feet below the keel. We still have 30 feet, which is more than I had a moment ago. I'm basically trailing a torpedo here. I'm going to try, so I'm going to run ultra quiet. And see if I can avoid... Hang on. No, not standard. We're going to have to raise the ship a little. Oh! We ruptured. What did we rupture? Hull's at 21%. It's because the stern of the ship temporarily hit the seabed. 155 feet. At this point I have 3 meters below the hull. If I'm going to be forced to run, this would not be a good time to do so. There's another sonar buoy. Hull's at 21%. I'm surprised I'm not dead yet. I mean, that torpedo should have killed me, and then this mistake should have definitely killed me. There's 4 torpedoes looking around. They still haven't found me. I'm not complaining, I'm just a bit surprised. Propulsion repaired. Planes repaired. Towed array repaired. Excellent work, boys. Oh, shit. Torpedo, torpedo, torpedo. And that's the end of us. Well, can we still abandon ship? After action report. Okay, so there were 2 enemy submarines around. 1 kilo, another kilo, and a couple of trawlers. I'm not surprised about the trawlers. They just usually head around here, but yeah, we lost the Baton Rouge. Not without giving them a hell of a run for their money, though. They had a lot of difficulty trying to find me, and once they did find me, they took a lot of effort in order to actually sink me. So I hope you enjoyed that show, and I will definitely be covering more of that game. Maybe we're going to be doing another campaign, and as the campaign is dynamic every time, we're going to be seeing different missions every time we play it. So it's going to be an interesting mix-up as opposed to one of those set campaigns where you always have the same stuff. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. You could almost call that a 50-minute action movie. Submarine warfare can be really, really exciting, but this game tends to be the exception, in the sense that there is virtually always action in this game. That is not normally so when you're actually on a submarine. Now, I'm no expert. I have not served aboard a submarine, but aboard a submarine you could spend hours and hours and hours listening to nothing. There's just going to be whales around. As the officer of the watch, you could just have 8 hours of nothing. So, as active and as action-oriented as it may seem here, this is the exception rather than the rule. So just don't run off and join the silent service all of a sudden. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and I'll see you soon for more of Cold Waters.